Tailspin came out when Disney was mass producing a lot of TV series based off of very successful movies, and usually when they did this, the TV shows didn't get a lot of viewing because why rip off the original? I don't know. Disney likes a lot of this. But anyways, Tailspin is based off of characters from the ever popular Jungle Book, which was the last ever movie that Walt Disney himself worked on. And Tailspin is set in the late 1930s, so there's a lot of airplanes and old school language and stuff like that. And the main characters from the Jungle Book that they use are Shere Khan and Baloo, the bear. I love Baloo. And then they added more characters which aren't really directly related, but they do fit in with the story really well. The Dogfather takes place around the same time as the TV series, and is focused mainly on the main villain, who is Don Carnage. Or in this story, he's actually given a first name, Don Felipe Carnage. And Don Carnage is an air pirate who basically steals other planes' cargo and stuff and uses it for himself. Anyways, the story starts a young German Shepherd named Grace. And Grace is kind of your typical, like, girls that really don't have relationships. And she's kind of stuck in her dead-end job, and basically her life just sucks. And she's still waiting for her prince to come save her. But she's still a very interesting character, because she does have feelings, and you do learn a lot about her throughout the story, and how her past has affected what she is now. And she is a journalist, and is given a... I feel like I'm giving too much away with this story right now, so I'm probably just going to talk about the characters, because, well, I really want you guys to read this for yourself, because it is a beautifully written story, because it keeps your attention, it does not drag, and there are some really well-developed characters in the story that I feel that you guys need to read about, because they're a prime example about what characters should be, and I admit that even I can't make characters this great, so it's really a story you need to check out. Luciano is a pretty scary guy, and especially when he takes Grace into questioning, you can see the extent of how scary he is, because of how he tortures her to get information. But I have to admit, she's pretty strong, because she won't tell him anything. She is thrown back in the cell with Baloo, and because there's not much they can do until someone comes to save them, because they're kind of locked up. But Carnage does come and free them. I'm not going to say how, because that is a very epic scene, and you need to read for yourself. Since I want you to read the story for yourselves, I'm going to stop talking about it and say what I liked about it. I liked that there were no Mary Sues. Mary Sues are characters that are way too perfect, and I really hate them, because you see them all the time in fan fictions, because, well, usually it's a fangirl that writes it, and I'm not one of those. I like to give my characters a backstory, and I will admit that my characters are not perfect. They are rude, they can be make me crazy, they're not perfect. But anyways, this story is what is lacking those, and that makes me happy, because I was so sick of seeing it in other stories that I've been reading. So I'm glad that the story has characters with backstory, and they actually entertain you. And there's lots of dialogue between the characters, which makes them also very interesting because you can see how they interact that way. And that's always important because the characters really, if they don't interact, they're going to be super boring. And your reader will be like, oh, forget it, I'm tired of reading this, I'm going to go to bed. So it's really good to keep them awake and interested. And the more interested they are, the more likely they're going to want to read another one of your stories. So that's always good. And I think Salem does a very good job with this. And that's very good of her. Because this story is not as dark as her other ones, but it still has that feeling like darkness, but it's not dark. I should have mentioned earlier that the story is co-written with Wild Lover Lane, another user that I know, and she's super nice. But I haven't been able to talk to her for a few days. She hasn't been online. But she is a very good writer also, and I'm currently helping her with another one of her stories. I won't tell it to you because it's not finished yet, but it's going to be awesome. So that's almost all I have to say, besides that the writing is excellent, and I don't think there's anything I would ever change with this story. And if you're wondering what I'm doing at the moment, I am making 4th of July kebabs, which look like this. Cool. So they look kind of like flag. But anyways, if you have any story requests for me to do, please send them to my email, which should be in the comments below. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time.